Good morning, students. Welcome to Mother's Public School. In this video, I will talk about notice writing. It's an important question and an easy scorer. This is one question type on which you can easily score. There are just a few things that you need to take care of. Let us start off with the discussion. Read the question very carefully. All your score depends on how well you can read the question. In fact, you get everything to be written down from the question itself. So there are a few pieces of information that you need to collect from the question. The first piece of information that you need to know is the name of the school, because that is the first thing that you must put down on the notice. It can be a notice on the notice board of your school. It can be a notice on the notice board of a club. It can be a notice on the notice board of any other organization. So it's not always a school. It can be a school, it can be a club, it can be a society, it can be anything like that. And that is very important. You must put it there on top. Generally, the name of the school or name of the system is given in the question itself. But sometimes your question says that you are the secretary of the sports club of your school. Now, what do you mean by your school? Your school is not the name of your school. So what to do in such case? Never put down the actual name of your school. It's always suggested that if the name of the school is not given, you must use XYZ public school or XYZ senior secondary school. After the name of the school, club or organization, the next thing that to be picked from the question is the organizing body. In your school, you have the sports club, you have the cultural club, you have the academic society, you have so many different organizations and systems within your school. Now, this is one more thing that you need to be careful about and pick it properly from the question. Sometimes, in a hurry, you miss to mention that organizing body, and in that case you leave a bad impression of yours on the examiner. So make sure that all the information that is given in the question is incorporated in your answer. Then the third thing, as you can see on the list, is event title. Don't just rush for the description of the event. Let us start with the title of the event. It can be an annual sports meet, it can be annual function, it can be a debate competition, it can be a writing competition, speaking competition, or any such sort of competition or function or event, or maybe farewell party or any such sort of thing. Well, then the next one is the date, day and time of the event. Start with day, comma, date, and then the time. This is again important. Well, just imagine, you put the event, you put the description of the event on the notice board, but then you forget to put down the date, and the students are clueless. People are clueless when to come for the event. So it's important to know that, put down the date carefully. And then there are certain formats you can use for writing down date, but you don't just have to go about looking and learning all the formats. Even if you are just good at writing one format, you are good enough. And then the next one is the place of the event, right? And suppose you have given the date and time, but what if the person doesn't know where to go for the event? So the next thing that must be carefully incorporated in the notice is the place of event. And then there are certain descriptions to be given about the event, and I would put them under event description. Event description depends on what sort of event you are talking of. If it's a sports, you need to mention the different events that will take place in the function, like there can be track events, there can be athletics, there can be gymnastics, there can be boxing, taekwondo, and so many other sports are there. And it's always good to write down a couple of things on a list, because at the end of the notice, well, when you sit down to count the number of words, quite often you find that the number of words either exceed or it turns short of the required number. In that case, if you have a list of events, if you have a list of such things, you can either add a few more to get to the required level of 50, or if you have exceeded, you can reduce a few items in order to bring it down to limit. Then the next one, any other information. Yes, please make sure that you don't miss this part. This is very, very important. Well, you may be required to ask the students who are interested in participation to come and meet you. It may be that qualifications are given, qualifying education, qualifying there can be so many factors that qualify a student for a particular event. That has to be mentioned, because your examiner mentions all those specific details to be incorporated in your notice, and if you skip them, the examiner won't feel very good. Then the next one is your name. You are actually the undersigned. So in the notice, if at all you use the word undersigned, you mean yourself. So your name is important, and once again, you don't have to write down your actual name, your real name. Rather, you need to pick your name from the question. The examiner will tell you what your name is, and in case he doesn't tell you your name, don't put your actual name. Once again, your name will be XYZ. Then the next one is your designation. Your designation is also important, because why should you put a notice and why should you be the undersigned? Because you have the authority, and if you have the authority, it's out of a designation. So you need to put that designation below your name. And finally, on the other hand, you have to put the date of notice, and make sure that the date of event and date of notice are to be carefully placed. And never do a blunder of the sort that event is before the date of notice. Event should always be there after the date of notice, and if it is before the date of notice, it wouldn't be of any use. And the most important of all, don't forget the word limit. It is 50 words.